Hey, what's up, guys? I just got my blood work done, and results are in, and there's a few issues of concern. I'll get to that in a minute, but I just want to say that blood work is something that I generally didn't do enough of. I've only done it twice over the last 2 years. I've done steroids, and both times it was pretty good. Like, there wasn't anything that was particularly wrong, but that was at a lower doses than I just did my last cycle. So, long story short, I just got a new family doctor, and I told him that I do testosterone. So he wanted me to get blood work done to make sure everything was good. So I did, and two things were off that were of concern. One is that I had really high red blood cell count. Not to the point where it was like dangerous, but to the point where it was in the caution zone. It was above normal range. So, for a short period of time, if I have heightened red blood cells, I don't see that as the worst thing, but that's not something you want to have persisting over time, right? And the reason I believe why my red blood cells were high is because, for one, testosterone anabolically creates more red blood cells, but as well nandrolone does, and the two added together just makes it that much worse, per se. So there's a few ways to mitigate that, I guess, and one is like give blood, or two is just take lower doses. So in the future, I think I reached my limit as far as like how much my body can tolerate safely without going over the limit. So I think that I've reached the upper limit as far as red blood cell count goes. That I wouldn't want it to be pushed any higher. That being said, I'd much rather have slightly higher red blood cell count than slightly lower red blood cell count, if that makes sense. And it's one of the expected when you're on steroids. It's one of those things that is expected, some more so than others. For example, things like I believe even primobolan causes heightened red blood cells, and EQ apparently is really bad for it. And essentially, when you have heightened red blood cells, it just makes your blood thicker, which isn't a good thing. Which means your heart is pumping harder, and things like that. So the other thing I guess you could do to help with heightened red blood cells is, I think, take 5 milligrams Cialis, because I think that like vasodilates everything, which means your veins become bigger, wider, and I think that would help with that, with blood pressure especially. The other thing that was not great, this one was a little bit worse than the blood cell count, is I had considerably low HDL. HDL is a cholesterol, and that's the healthy cholesterol, as opposed to LDL, which is, I always remembered as L is for like lousy, which is bad cholesterol. Well, my bad cholesterol was actually within really good range, but my HDL was very low, which was not in a good range. So that's not something you want to have for a long time, like very low HDL, because of various cardiovascular risks associated with that, long-term strokes, heart attacks, plaques on your arteries and such. So so the one thing that I didn't do before, which I'm now starting to do to help with that, is take fish oils. So I got like the 1,000 milligram fish oils. They come in different like milligram sizes, and so I'm going to take 2,000 milligrams of fish oil a day. Now my blast cycle is done, so I'm going to cruise for 3 months on 150 week TRT, and then in the 3 months or so that I cruise, towards the end, I'm going to get my blood done again, whilst taking these fish oils, and then we'll see what my levels are then. So, but other than that, everything was actually pretty good. So my blood was fine. My blood markers were fine. As far as especially the important things, I would say, which are kidney and liver, was healthy. Because obviously when we're on steroids, you want to make sure those are good, that your organs aren't being stressed too much. But with the compounds I was taking, it wasn't anything, I don't think, too dangerous anyway, because for that reason, I picked what I'm doing, which is testosterone. It was around, towards the end, I was pushing 500 a week. Same with Mastron, 500 a week. And Nandrolone over 300. I don't know the exact amount. I just titrated it up another tick on the syringe. So it was around 300. I know, around that. So, that's not a small amount of steroids. That's over a gram. And I was taking Anavar at the end, 50 milligrams a day. And I was really, I don't know if you watched some of my last videos, but I was really trying to get that 3-plate bench press. Didn't happen, but pretty damn close. So I'm going to, just on a side note, I'm going to try to maintain my bench press a bit. Doing lots of volume work on like I did today, on my chest and arms. And when I in a few months, when I come back for another blast cycle, we'll get right back to it. Try to get that 3 plates. But the Anavar, on that note as well, the 50 milligrams, I believe that was what skewed my HDL, as well as Mastron. I was taking a large amount of Mastron. It's known to do that, both of those, more than testosterone and Nandrolone. And then conversely, the testosterone and Nandrolone are known to cause the heightened red blood cell count. So it makes sense what those numbers were. But both of them, especially the red blood cells, it wasn't like really dangerous. So it was just like, but it wasn't good, right? So you always want to make sure your levels are good. Speaking of levels as well, my blood pressure has been really good lately, so I'm happy with that. A lot better since I've come off the last 2 weeks on going back to a TRT dose. It's dropped like probably around 10 on the systolic. So I'm like just under shy of 120 over 70 something 80, which is good. When I was blasting, it was like 130 over something, so 80 or 90, which is slightly heightened, mild hypertension, but nothing. It wasn't that bad. It's not that bad. Yeah, I'll leave it there. That's pretty much sums up my blood work. It is something, now that I actually have a family doctor, the way it works in Canada, once you have a family doctor, you can make an appointment, and then he can order you to get blood work. Like, essentially fill out a form, and you take that form to this place, Life Labs, and then you can get it done. Without a family doctor, it's a little bit more tricky. You have to go through a clinic and things, and it's kind of a hassle to do that. So now that I have actually a family doctor, which is hard to get now in Canada, I'll be able to get blood work done more regularly, which is good. Especially now that I'm over 40, I think that's important. Maybe I'll get more physical as well. The other thing I should mention I'm kind of upset with is this blood work didn't have my testosterone or estrogen levels, which I kind of wanted that. I thought that would be one of the main purposes of ordering it, to make sure what my testosterone levels are, to see if I'm taking too much, right? Well, for him anyway, to doctor, be like, look, your T levels are through the roof. You don't need that much, type of thing. But if my T levels were within a good range, I'd be like, look, I'm in a good range, so it's not that big of a deal. That's what I would have hoped. Maybe that's when I go and I'll talk to him, I would have wished to have seen. But the other thing, again, I'll add, is that he's going to refer me to an endocrinologist, which is like a specialist in hormones, things like that. And he's going to, I think, when he said, this new guy's pretty cool, young guy, he's going to, he knows all about steroids, testosterone, and had a conversation with him, that he might, depending on what the endocrinologist says, he might get me on prescribed testosterone as opposed to the underground shit, which I told him, I'm like, look, I'm getting some Chinese pharmaceutical shit. I'm shut down, right? My gonadal hypertrophy, which means they're not working no more. My balls aren't working no more. It's not producing testosterone. So why don't I just get on the TRT, right? It's probably something in the next 10 years I would have had to have done anyway. So, and because of my steroid use, it's already done. So why don't just get me on some of the Merc fucking testosterone, right? Which would be save me a little bit of money, and know that at least one of my sources for my steroids is legit, which would be nice. I guess I'll just finish this by saying what I'm going to do now is just 3 months of 150. I think it works out to between 150 and 175 because I do it every other day. Some weeks it's lower, some weeks it's higher, so it's like averages in there. And I'm also dropped the HGH from about 6 IUs a day to 3 IUs a day, which is still reasonable. You do that over time, you're still going to get the benefits of HGH, but I wanted to give my whole body a break for 3 months, even bring my HGH down. I was considering leaving it at that 6, which is, you know, that's a decent amount, but no, I'll bring that down a little bit too, and then I'll, you know, let my body breathe a little bit before I go back, because when you're blasting, you know, you feel it, and it's like it causes stress over time on your body. Certain things, I felt it kind of weighs you down a bit, and towards the end, it feels great though too. But it feels really good coming off back to a TRT. Now I feel like $1,000,000 now. I think I look a little better too, feel better. So I'll give my body a break, and then 3 months test my blood again. Alright, so thanks for watching, guys. What are your thoughts on this video? I wish I had the numbers of, oh yeah, it was 4,000, over 4,000 red blood cells, and I forget what the levels of the HDL was. Alright guys, thanks for watching, peace.